Today's topic is actually how to be healthy.
It's important that we understand that there is an outside and there's an inside. If you don't get the outside right, it's going to limit you.
When Joseph was put in prison and it was time for him to see the king, what is the first thing he does?
You got to take care of himself.
He took a shower, he
Yeah.
shaved.
Yeah.
Why? Because he knows that the king's not going to receive him any kind of way. People of the world notice the outer appearance first.
Yeah.
They don't see your heart.
Yeah.
They don't see your intentions.
Mhm.
They see, you know what, this man looks like I can learn something from him.
You need to be honest. Am I living a life taking care of my temple? It's like, how good of a steward are you? Your body is not yours, it's God's. He's given you a body. And how are we taking care of it?
I think one of the best things you can do is... Welcome to Sharp Podcast. I am your co-host, Jay.
Yep, and I am
and this
Frank.
is Frank.
And it's nice to be here, man.
It's good.
I feel like
all
I haven't
good.
seen you in a while.
Well, I am a hardworking young man.
You are.
On the grind.
You are.
The grind is like, it's in popular demand right now.
Yeah, it is.
All over. It's like wherever you go, people love saying that. I'm on the grind.
I'm on the grind.
I'm hustling.
Yeah.
I'm getting that bag.
Yeah.
Are you getting that bag?
Nah, it doesn't feel like it because I got bills. I got bills to pay. The money's coming in, but it's
going in another bag, not going in my bag.
No, not my bag. But soon it'll be all mine.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
What about you?
Frank?
How's it
Me?
grind?
Am I getting the bag?
How's it grind? Yeah.
Whew. You know what? I need to slow down the grind. I think I've
Yeah.
been grinding too much.
That's good.
I think about that every year and then I
Mhm.
don't stop.
Yeah.
I just keep going.
Well,
It's probably time to
as
slow
long
down.
as you
though.
rest soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are like that.
At some point, I might be getting greedy.
It's
Mhm.
good to, you gotta like kind of gauge it, right? Self-reflection.
Is saving money greedy though?
No.
Depends how much money.
But
you
if
save.
that's what you're doing, I mean,
I want to be like. Have you seen the movie American Gangster with Denzel?
no.
There's a scene where
Mhm.
he's like in his penthouse
Uh-huh.
apartment, and he's got like literally 3 suitcases
Full of
and he's
money?
just put in $10,000 stacks. He's got like
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
300 of them.
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends what you're gonna use it for.
Just to sleep better. What else do people want to stack money for? You just sleep better.
I mean,
But here's the
yeah.
thing: when you,
What?
I mean, it's not going with you.
no, it's not.
You know, like it's got to stay.
It does.
The money can't follow you to heaven. Your credit score doesn't follow you to heaven. For some of y'all, that's good news.
Yeah.
You know, your
That's
financial
good news.
situation doesn't follow you to
Yeah.
heaven. You know, this body doesn't follow you to heaven.
No.
You know, not the way it is at
Yeah.
least.
That's why mindset's important, and like the way you think of it. Because I mean, it's good to save, but if you're just, if you're just focused on saving and then like, what you do in life changes because money's the focus, that's a problem. You get
right.
what I'm saying?
It's
Yeah.
problematic.
But I mean, if you're doing
That's
it to
good.
save and then, you're not a greedy person. So if
I'm not?
I don't think you are.
Well,
So
you
if you're
just
gonna
made my
give,
day.
so if you're gonna give, like I feel like it's good for you to have money because then it's easy for you to give money when needed.
Right. It's easier,
Yeah.
right, to give money.
Yeah.
What about Shannon Sharp?
I
just had to bring it
I
up.
saw one thing online. I saw a voice recording.
Praying for you,
so-
Shannon.
Are you a fan of Shannon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan. He had a great football career.
Yeah, he was a good athlete.
Yeah.
A good athlete.
I don't know what all that entails, his
Yeah.
situation, but
Yeah, it's tough.
I don't know. I'm not gonna say anything. I don't want to get
Canceled.
politically
Yeah.
correct.
You gotta be political.
You know, you have to
Politically
find a healthy boundary between what you say and what you don't say.
Yeah.
Speaking of healthy,
I see what you did there. That was
you
good.
saw what I did
Yeah,
there?
That's why you get the big bucks.
Today's topic is actually how to be healthy.
Yeah.
Healthy.
Yeah, and this is a fun topic for us because we've enjoyed doing that most of our life.
Mm.
And I think it hasn't stopped, right?
It hasn't stopped. It's actually so important
Uh-huh.
that it's one of the only 3 things I look for if I'm gonna have somebody as a candidate for wife.
Oh yeah, that's
Gotta
one of
be
them.
healthy. Gym, food.
Well, let me tell you what.
You know,
I'll give you a marriage perspective on that.
give it to me.
So when I first met my wife,
Come on,
we actually were going to the gym like once a week.
together.
Yeah, just to hang out, spend time together.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but it always continued, like, even in the summer when the weather got nice, excuse me, we would go walk outside on the 606 trail.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've always done it. And I was more into it than she was, but she was always like, yeah, I want to do it. As we got married, bro, now she is so like, she wants to run a marathon.
It's your fault.
Yeah, so we run. Well, not we. I'm getting over this knee problem. It's progressing.
How old are you now?
Huh?
No, I'm just kidding.
No, I messed it up. But no, a lot better now. But she's running 3 times a week, and she's like on the grind. She tracks her macros. She works out daily, like building strength, running. So not to be discouraged. Give if you have a candidate and they might not be into it right now. I think they need to be somewhat into it. But then I think God can really do something through an individual. Like now she's more determined than me.
I completely agree.
Why?
I don't know. People say don't date potential. What? That's what people say. Don't date potential.
Don't date potential.
Oh, she or he got potential. Yeah, I see the potential.
I hear you.
I see the potential.
I
see the vision.
Yeah.
So your wife's a runner. She's a runner. She's a track star.
So
that's good though.
Yeah. But health. So we've always, we think it's important to talk about, first of all, because we love God. We love getting in the Word, right? But what we want to also do through this podcast is really speak to people's lives, right?
Right.
I believe we have a lot of younger men watching us, or even just men in general, and we definitely want to feed you the Word and bring everything back to the Bible. But sometimes I think we neglect the physical things, and sometimes if we're real Christian, we just focus on the spiritual things, right? So
like that video I sent you on Instagram.
Yeah,
the guys.
Yeah.
He didn't like fasting.
Yeah. So I think it's so important. You want to be a complete individual. You need to be complete, right? I feel God's got to be your center. God has to be at your center. But I think you need to be mindful, and you need to be wise, and you need to be doing well in all areas of your life, right? Would you agree?
I agree.
What do you think?
Man, every time I think of having a well-balanced, wholesome, God-fearing individual, I think of that verse we're going to talk about, 3 John 1:2.
Okay.
When it says, "Beloved, I wish that you would prosper."
Yeah.
Above all things, even as your soul prospers. Like God, it's so clear that God wants everything that has to do with you to be doing well.
Yeah.
He wants your brain to be doing well.
Yeah.
He wants your family to be doing well. He wants your body to be doing well.
Yeah.
And check this out. Here's another thing that caught my eye. Moses leading those Israelites out of Egypt. The Bible says that those people in Egypt were envying them.
Yeah.
Like, because they were whole.
Yeah.
Their God came back. Their bodies were in shape because they were all slaves.
Yeah.
And they gained, the finances of that day. And God was clearly delivering them with a mighty hand. So much to be envious of. Like, do people see that when they look at me?
That's
God's hand over you. You're wholesome. You're intact. You're thriving.
Yeah.
You are doing more than just kind of surviving and victimizing yourself.
Yeah.
No?
That's so good, yeah.
No? But I mean, okay, from a practical standpoint though, right? This is just you and me talking.
Yeah.
Don't you want, beauty, let's be honest.
Can
we be honest? Can we be honest, okay?
Yeah.
When you're thinking of a potential candidate to cuff, you know what cuff means, right?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Isn't beauty a factor? There's something that just draws, it probably helps to be taking care of yourself.
It does.
For you to be attracting people to the gospel.
Well, it does. I mean, okay, but also and But it's also important that, like you said, beauty. I know that people, when they date, like you said, they say, oh, it doesn't matter what's on the outside, it's what's on the inside. I mean, that's true, but we
That's
do look
true.
at the outside first, right? That's
Right.
what so you're not going to always pick someone because of what you see on the inside, unless you got X-ray vision or
I
you've
don't see
seen
the
them do
inside at all.
an act of kindness.
Yeah.
A lot of it is just the outside. That's what first initiates it.
Right.
And I don't want to sound shallow, but like when we were in Bible college, I'll speak for myself. I was not interested in any of the girls.
Me neither.
And I really had no involvement with any of the girls because I didn't find them attractive. And that's why, like, when you say health is
facts.
When you say like health is important, it is because Jesus, even when Jesus was talking to the Pharisees, right? He said, you're so focused on the outside and the inside is horrible, right?
Right.
But I mean, like, it's important that we understand that there is an outside and there's an inside. And if you don't get the outside right, it's going to limit you, or just it's not going to interest you.
You said it perfectly. So, it's going to limit you.
So, yeah.
Being healthy is so important. Being clean, being well put together, being someone just well put together is a good word. Okay, for example, this is a biblical example I just thought of. When Joseph was put in prison, and it was time for him to see the king. He's about to evangelize now. He doesn't know it, but he's about to evangelize. What is the first thing he does?
Got to take care of himself.
He took a shower. I'm not kidding. He took a shower. He shaved. Why? Because he knows that the king's not going to receive him any kind of way. These people notice the outer appearance first.
Yeah.
Okay? This is just the truth. People of the world notice the outer appearance first. They don't see your heart. They don't see your intentions. They see, you know what, this man looks like I can learn something from him.
Well, that's true. I mean, scripture says, right, walk by faith and not by sight. Why does it say that? Because we are people of God and we are to walk by faith and not by our eyes. But the world, like you said, they walk by sight and they don't walk by faith.
No, they don't walk by faith.
Validating everything you're saying. It's true. And I do want to be mindful that we're not trying to sound shallow in our conversation, right?
No, not at all.
But it is important, right? Like, you need to be. We're not talking just about beauty. We're talking about health, like
health,
taking care of your body, not letting yourself go. I know that beauty comes in all shapes and sizes is something they say, and that I'm not going to deny the claim, but what I'm going to say is that we know, like you said, be honest, right? We need to be honest with ourselves. There has been times in my life where, sure, I was eating a little better, or I wasn't always eating fast food and things like that, and I walked a little, but I wasn't exercising like I should, right?
Right.
And I was in bad shape, and at a point where, like, I was young. Yeah, I was in high school.
You looked,
and I didn't even realize it. And the summer flashed before my eyes, bro. I went to the doctor, and he's like, "You're borderline obese." And I grew up being an athlete, right? But the thing is you need to be honest with yourself, right? I think this is where, don't do any of this for people, but do it for yourself and do it for God, right?
Right.
We need to take care of ourselves. Like, you need to be honest. Hey, am I living a life taking care of my temple? We're going to get into that. Our bodies are a temple. The Spirit of God dwells in. Are we taking care of our temple? Are we neglecting it,
Right. So this would be the core of what we're talking about. Basically, we want, me personally, I want to value everything God values. Yeah. So if God values my devotional time, I want to take that serious because I value. If God values my relationships, I want to preciously be affectionate and towards my relationship. God values our bodies.
Yeah.
He values it. There's so much evidence in the Bible that he values our bodies.
Yeah.
Even so that the Bible says he was bruised for our iniquities, so that we might be healed in all of our body.
Yeah.
You know? And you took down a few verses, dog.
Yeah, I want to go to the verses, but I also want to say something going off of that I didn't add. When we talk about taking care of our body, another biblical principle in this is stewardship. And I don't think we really have verses on stewardship today. We have more verses on just the temple. But it's like, how good of a steward are you? Your body is not yours, it's God's. He's given you a body.
That's so valid.
And how are we taking care of it? You know, am I just sitting down all day being lazy? Am I taking care? Or am I actually like evaluating this body, putting the right foods in my body, exercising? You know, am I doing this? Am I being a good steward of this body? And we're not saying you need to have a six-pack and you need to have 10 to 15% body fat. We're saying, are you being a good steward of what God has given you? You know, are you being active? Are you being healthy? It's so important. Also, as I'm saying this, I'm thinking Daniel fast. Look at Daniel, right? And even the churches, right? Or the churches, meaning when they fast, a lot of times they do Daniel fast. I mean, that's like one of the cleanest, healthiest fasts you can do.
Right.
And isn't it something that God had Daniel do this fast to show that he's going to go above and beyond the example and what everyone else looked like and did? So,
food can affect. Let me. You were the one who went to school for
8 years
fitness.
In the health and sport performance industry, whatever we want to call it.
Performance. Let's use that word, performance. Food and exercise definitely affects our performance.
It does.
More than we're aware of.
It does.
It affects our gut. It affects our brain function.
Yep.
It affects our movement. It affects our state of dopamine.
Yeah.
How much gets released, how much gets detained. All these are factors in the quality of life that we live.
Yeah. You can flip even your pain, your struggles. Like my brother-in-law, he had some type of problem going on, changed his diet, ate super clean, only whole foods, and we prayed for him. Those two together, this man's been healed to this day. I'm not
Jesus.
And it's like, but look at that.
Are you telling me nobody prayed over him? He changed his diet?
No, we prayed and he changed his diet, but we also prayed faithfully. And man, he's experienced that. That's his testimony. But I mention that because food is so important. Like, if you just change some of the things you ate or you eat, you're going to see differences in your body and the way you're feeling and how your body's functioning.
It's true.
So important.
I do need to stop having Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A, yeah. Chick-fil-A is dangerous.
It's seriously coming out like there's a lot of articles stating that it is dangerous. But you need it every now and then.
Yeah, you do. It's God's restaurant.
That's God's chicken right there. I care what nobody says.
Let me see a verse. I want to pull up a verse. 1 Timothy 4:8. Okay, I'll close this because I have my verses here. It says, "For while," this is Paul talking, right? He says, "For while bodily training is of some value, godliness is of value in every way, as it holds promise for the present life and also for the life to come." So Paul, what he's telling them is, he's saying, yes, it's important to take care of your body, but he's saying what's most important is going after God and doing the things of the kingdom, because that is eternal. But what he's saying is you can take care of your physical body here right now, right? And that is of some benefit, right? Because what? You might live longer. You might fulfill your purpose a little more on this life because you take care of yourself. So it's amazing to see that Paul mentions the importance of taking care of yourself, physical training, exercise, right?
Agreed.
I don't know if Paul was an athlete because he even talks about the race, right? This life's a merit, right?
You said, I don't know if Paul was an athlete.
He might have been.
He did not say that.
But no, his language, man. His language, he compared a lot of things.
He was an intelligent human being.
Yeah,
you do realize that, right?
Know. Yeah, but maybe he likes sports. I mean, so my question to you is, as a Christian, George, what do you think? How do you think a person should take care of themselves? Like, what is something you can give to a person, right?
Counsel?
Well, yeah, regarding this topic of being healthy, right? Physical health, you have lived it. We've been friends for over 10 years, and you've always been in great shape, and you've always had a focus on taking care of yourself, right? And doing your best, not only in your health, but doing your best, right? And so I would like to give, like, if you can give someone advice, because there are people who probably don't even know what the first thing is to do, because maybe health has never been something they cared about, but they're noticing that, yeah, I think it's time to do something. I'd like to know your perspective, and then I'll share a little of some being in that field for 8 years, actually helping people reach their goals, not only like the way they look, but just overall function and health and performance, and helping them get to a place that was right and healthy and where they wanted to be.
Okay. For the body, I think one of the best things you can do is incrementally get better at only drinking water.
Okay, yeah, I would agree.
That one is huge.
It is.
If you can improve on your water intake and limit Gatorade, limit soda, limit juice, limit alcohol, that's going to make a world of a difference.
It will.
I mean, even Jesus compares himself to water.
Yeah.
Got your back, theologians. But yeah,
the living water.
The living water. And spiritually, I think my number one health tip would be I just think we should see it as kind of like a savings account. And I just want somebody to contribute something every day.
Yeah.
So if you don't have time to read the Bible 20 minutes in the morning, I do suggest you read one verse.
Yeah.
And you just read that one verse before you leave the house. Contribute something every day, no matter how little or how big. And I know you've heard the phrase that if you throw a bucket of water on a rock, it's not going to do anything but wet the rock. But if you spill one drop of water on the rock every day for a year, it's going to start to form that rock. Because consistency is way more powerful than extremities.
That's really good.
So that would be my advice. Try to control the water. Try to get rid of everything else, and when it comes to spiritual, just kind of try to contribute something. Consistency is the key.
That's really good. Yeah. No,
Did that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Yeah. I mean,
can I take your answer?
No, I mean, I got a lot of answers. I got a lot of answers for that, because it's not there. I would always say it all depends, right? Whenever someone would ask me like, oh, I'm trying to do this, how can I do it? For me, it always depends, because it's not always simple. There are simple things that you can start with,
right?
But everyone's different. But I do like that. If we're talking about like your diet, water is something I agree with. Water is the most important thing we need, right? In our bodies,
right?
We're made up of water. So water is important. It's an easy thing to start. Just if you were to drink water and you drink a lot of pop, like you said, alcohol, beverages that have calories, water is an easy fix. But something for the physical that I would say is just start somewhere. Kind of like you said consistency. But start somewhere and be consistent.
Right.
I think one thing that I see, and it frustrates me, and I'm going to relate this to the physical and the spiritual, okay, is let's start spiritual. People are like, I want to get closer to God. And sometimes the first thing they'll do is like a Daniel fast. Or sometimes the first thing they'll do is, I'm going to wake up at 5 a.m. and pray. But it's like these things sometimes are so extreme if you've never done it before, and you set yourself up for failure.
Yeah, I agree.
And so you need to start, like you said, if you can't read in the morning, read one verse. Read one verse in the morning, and then find time in the day to read your Bible. Just start with something that's so realistic. Right. You have no time in the day, okay? Your day's so busy. Well, I'm sure there's downtime, whether you're driving on your commute, your lunch break. Maybe finish that lunch break 5 minutes early and find time to spend with God. Maybe it's in your car when you're driving, pray or listen to the Bible audibly. Start with something so simple. And same thing in the physical. Summer's coming. I know we want to change the way we look a little better, feel a little better. And sometimes what we think is best is I haven't worked out at all, and I'm going to start taking these fitness classes at 3 a.m. in the morning. It's like, are you really going to stay with that consistently? You haven't been
at
doing
3 a.m.
You haven't. But I'm saying, like, that's what sometimes we do. Or like, I'm gonna.
I'm not gonna lie. I say that to myself sometimes, and my own self will speak to my brain and say,
"No, you're not.
You ain't doing that, bro.
Exactly.
You ain't getting up, boy. Stop kidding yourself,
bro."
And I'm like, "You right."
See, I don't.
I'll get up at 5.
I don't only have that voice. I have someone at home.
Yeah.
Every morning, I'm like,
I'm waking up. At home.
I say, I'm gonna wake up early. I haven't done that once this year, so I stopped saying that. But
stop saying that.
Start with what's realistic. Woo! Like, if you can only get a 10-minute walk in, start with that. It's like,
Frank, you haven't done it once this year,
like
Frank?
waking up early, like 5 a.m. to get a lift
to do something.
Maybe once or twice, but nah, I haven't done it consistently. I'm probably like a 3% success rate at that. 3%. But no, it's just something that, you know. Or the other thing is, don't create obstacles. This is so true in your physical, but even in your spiritual. When you want to do something and you have good intentions, do it, but don't put obstacles in the way. Like, you want to eat better, right? Or you want to live healthy, but it's like, oh, I got to go buy this subscription to the gym, and then I got to go buy these meal preps, or you know what I'm saying? Like, and then I don't have the money. It's not sustainable. You're creating obstacles in the way. Like, just do what you can
with what you have.
And do it consistently. That's so important.
Do what you can with what you have.
Yeah.
Do what you can with what you have. That should be like the title of this video. Mm-hmm. Do what you can with what you have.
Yeah. It's so true.
You know, because you can't, first of all, you can't do anything with what you don't have.
Exactly.
And if you think of what you don't have, you ain't finna do anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, okay, this is off topic,
but
this is exactly why I hate social media.
Why?
Social media be making me think that I'm broke.
I know.
Okay, there's all these CEOs with these gold Rolexes, you know, and these suits and ties, and they're talking about, if you're not making $500,000 a year, what are you doing with your life? You know, I made that last month in a check. Somebody wrote it to me in a sale, and I realistically I had to step back and think, like, do I know anybody making $500,000 a year? How common is that? And we're common people. We're not above average in any way. Like, is that realistic? Is that realistic to have a Bugatti? No, am I failing because I drive a Toyota, dog? You know? Am I benching 315? No. It's so unrealistic. So if somebody like me is feeling like that when it comes to being healthy or whatever the case may be, I know somebody out there like you could probably feel that consistently as well. And what Frank is saying is, there's no need for that.
No, it's extra.
Like,
don't be extra.
First of all, it's not real.
No, it's not.
And secondly, everybody is putting their pants on one leg at a time, just like you are. Like, I don't care how rich, how famous, how in shape. Normal people bleed like we bleed. Suffer like we suffer. You know, so we just have to do with what we have. And
the last thing, we can close with this, but I strongly believe that majority of people, you know what to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, sometimes we say I can't do it because I don't know how to do it.
Right.
But that's not true. Like, you know, even with our faith, like, we say, oh, you know, I don't know where to start, or I don't know. It's like, man, say yes to Jesus, get plugged into a church, open up this Bible. You know what to do and can be successful with the very limited amount that you believe you have.
Right.
Same thing with your health. Like, you know what you're putting into your body is not good. You know you're eating for fun. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You don't even have to have a degree in exercise. You don't have to have a degree in nutrition. There's just some common sense things that we can do. And as people, I always say this, and I heard it from someone I love. They say common sense isn't common anymore.
No,
and we need to get back to common sense. And this book right here, this book is life, and there are so many things that it will teach you about life and just taking care of yourself. Right?
Agreed.
Not only just loving God and living the way He's called you and the purpose He's given you, right?
Right.
But like we said, there's Proverbs that you can read, and man, it's gonna change. You read Proverbs, for real. You read Proverbs and you study it. I guarantee you're gonna think differently and act differently if you take it serious.
Agreed. Yeah. This is your sign to be healthier this year.
And we're rooting for you.
I'm rooting for you. I'm praying for y'all. Yeah. Like, I want you to be healthier. Yeah. I mean, and God has nothing but good intentions towards us. So we know that he wants us to be healthy. Yeah. Mentally, physically, and spiritually. Yeah. Like, there should be very little toxicity in our lives. Like, I always said we were going to end the video, but yeah. Anyways, I'm going to stop there.
We're going to stop here. I want to leave. I want to try to start doing something like this, but let's one simple thing to keep you sharp for the rest of the week.
Okay.
And we already said this, so I just want to reiterate it. For mine to be sharp the rest of this week is start somewhere. Don't make it complicated.
Don't make it complicated. Yep. Drink water. That could be a one day goal. Today I'm only gonna drink water.
Yeah. So is that to keep them sharp? Is that your tip?
Y'all can see my testimonials every video.
Every video.
I drink this cup of water every video, the whole thing. Before we even finish the video, I drink it. I'm so glad you got me this cup. It was your idea to drink water.
And one thing that I want to say too is be consistent. That's so important.
Be consistent.
So be sharp, stay sharp. We'll see you in the next podcast.
Do your push-ups.
We're out. Subscribe, like, and comment. We'll see you next week. Take care.